up in the Dumbo, smoking a gumbo. Few blocks before green, yeah, up in the jungle, coking the bundles. It's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands. I'm riding in vans, slide through your land. Hopping the sprinters, tore the underworld, popping the minter. Landed the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up it and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Morris the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Waving for force, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine, I'm going for 19. Thunder and lightning flooded the bright lane. The hunger was biting, biting.
Every Sunday, 4:44 p.m. Eastern. Join us every Sunday, 4:44 p.m. Eastern, only on Patreon, as we welcome Chicago Crypto Block Bully Technical Analysis.
Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here. Welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin. So
understanding technical analysis can mean the difference between buying here and buying here. And that's why I've decided to create price action, the movement of an asset or security's price over time plotted on a chart. All-time high, ATH, the highest an asset has ever been in price. Support, a point in the market where the price is less likely to drop below due to previous demand or price action. Resistance, a point in the market where
You will learn behavioral economics. You will study historical market data. You will be able to identify trading opportunities. You will be able to evaluate any investment and many, many more. Please join us on Red Pillar's Patreon.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to Uplifting Heel Friday. We are live here at the Sauce Spot. I am the Sauce Guy. You know, I'm joined here by none other than Perp 30, the energy healer, the crystal dealer. Yeah.
It's me, Perp 30. Yes, let's get it.
Oh, turn us up, Black Light. We need
Really
that.
nice.
Turn the music up, baby. Go around whatever you want to be rolling up on, whatever you're sipping on, you know, this is brought to you by Know the Ledge Radio. Shout out to Blue Pill and Red Pill.
Look, make sure y'all catch this episode coming up on Friday for Uplift and Heal. They got a special episode planned. Shout out to Sauce Guard. Shout out to Perp 30. All right. Peace to the family. Peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays, 246. You are now rocking with the best. Yes. We are in the building. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's go ahead and do an audio check before we do anything. Let's make sure we sounding good on the audio. How we sounding on the audio, guys? How are we sounding on the audio? We good? Yes. We in the building. All right, let's do the roll call. They said audio sounds proper. Beantown in the building. Shout out to the Beantown. What up, Beantown? Shout out to Beantown. All right. All right. We got a little delay and whatnot. Shout out to San Francisco in the building. West Side. Shout out to the San Francisco. Rome in the building. B more in the building. They said that the West Coast was representing harder at the 50, hip hop 50 than the East Coast was. Talk black to me. All right, we got, how do you pronounce that? I don't even want to mess it up. We got Florida in the building, Land Flowers, Barbados, Brooklyn, Santa Rosa, Baltimore's up in here, North Kakalaka. And I'm talking about South Kakalaka. It's a Kakalaka war. You know what I'm talking about? BK. Yeah, Pat Good. Yeah, we ain't taking no. You know what I'm talking about? Indianapolis was popping. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Man cross the Mandem. Shout out to the Mandem across the Pondem. You know what I mean? BK Massive all the way to the UK Massive. Dallas in the building. Michigan Money Making Manhattan. MISSSI. Stone Mountain is in the building. You know what I'm talking about? We got Africa in the building. Shout out to Africa. You know what I'm talking about? We're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk a little bit of Africa politics tonight. Tacoma, you know what I mean? Macon. Yeah. We deep up in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. What time is it? All right, it's relatively timely. You feel me? On the West Coast, the sun is still out, but it's like 9 and change where I'm at. Peace to everybody in the building. Greetings, salute, happy Monday. You know what I mean? Woo! It's been an interesting few days since we last linked up. My goodness. My, how shit be going down. You know what I'm talking about? My. It's been a lot of stuff taking place. Not a lot of news to chop up. Kansas City, Missouri. Shout out to Missouri in the building. Colorado and Tennessee and all of y'all. Salute. Okay. Yeah. So what are we going to start with? First and foremost, before I even begin, once again, shout out to the sponsors for tonight's show, Uplift and Heal. Okay, shout out to Uplift and Heal. Episode 2 premiered on Friday. I don't know if y'all was there to catch that. I need y'all to go into the archives and give that episode 2 a spin. If you haven't checked out episode 1 of Uplift and Heal, it is in the archives. You know what I mean? Go ahead and press play. You could let it play while you cleaning up. It's one of those type of podcasts where you could just let it play. You don't necessarily got to be sitting down. The music is being reviewed. There's playlists that are being introduced and whatnot. Right? So it is a very, very good environment for anybody who considers themselves a connoisseur of good music, because it's not only just hip hop. You're gonna get surprised with different genres of music. It's family friendly. It's a brother and his whiz, so that dynamic is always welcomed in this community. It's something that's not always seen. You know what I mean? The relationship modality and whatnot. That example, that divine example of the divine feminine and the divine masculine working together. Always a beautiful thing to see. You feel me? So make sure y'all tap in and support what we doing over here on Know the Ledge Media. And who knows? We might turn this shit into a whole news meeting. We might turn this channel into what this channel was many, many years ago when we had Know the Ledge Radio. This channel functioned more as a media channel. Our network was more media and network based. The platform, that is, was more, we were more platform based than what you see here, where Know the Ledge, this channel is more of a red pill type of representation. Prior to that, I would say in the year 2009 and 10 and 11, if anybody was following Know the Ledge back then, we functioned more as a platform that was introducing other speakers, teachers, scholars, master teachers, master students who turned into master teachers and stuff like that. So, I'm contemplating bringing that back because, we have a whole new demographics of students and people who are coming into this information and into this knowledge. And, they need platforms to be introduced to certain teachers, and they needed to be compartmentalized the right way. So who knows? We were entertaining that idea. But in the meantime, between time, what we got going on is something very powerful that I'm very, very pleasantly pleased. I'm honored. I am honored to have these weekly classes with my good brothers, Chicago Crypto Block Bully, who's been coming through and smashing shit. Right? You know what I'm talking about? He been coming through and smashing Sundays and whatnot. Shout out to my good brother, Chicago Crypto Block Bully. He's been smashing the game. We started this conversation. We was in the bear market. Now we in the bull market. All of a sudden, once again, you see this focus when you put attention on something, then you make you collapse those waves and you bring it to life. So now we're focusing on the crypto and the decentralized finances and whatnot. Now that shit is starting to blow up and whatnot. If you know how to read the charts, you'll see an upward trend. You'll see an upward trend ever since we started paying this shit attention. And that's not to toot horns and whatnot. All I'm saying is attention is everything. So we got our good brother Chicago on every Sunday doing this thing. And then we got my good brother Ra Aku every Wednesday. Check it out. That's a 4-week class with Cosmo Physics. It is starting. It already started. It's every Wednesday. Make sure y'all join the Patreon at the citrine level. Okay, that's where you get all of these perks, and I ain't talking about perk 30 and whatnot. You get all of these perks at the citrine level. So if you want to tap into what Ra Aku is doing, and if you want to tap into what Chicago Crypto is doing, please make sure you become a Patreon and you will be ushered in into the upper rooms and whatnot, because membership has its privileges. So let us continue. Who saw the BET Awards, man? Let's get right to it. You know what I mean? Let's get the fuckery out the way. Let's get all of the commercialized shit out the way, and then we could go into some geopolitical talk. I'm gonna talk about the situation in Russia tonight. That's gonna get a lot of my attention. The situation in Russia. I'm not talking about the submarine and the Titanic. You see how this news cycle works. That automatically became old news after the attempt coup d'état in Russia, which led me to do some deep diving on this quote unquote paramilitary corporation, or what they call private military contractors. And I'm going to pose a question to Black America and to the hip hop community in their 50th year. I'm going to juxtapose arguments, and we're going to tie certain things and show you how they're related and whatnot. The BET have an award. Yeah, they had an award show last night. You may not be into shit like that, and that's rightfully so. Who watches BET anymore? But I was made aware of the show. I had a friend that was performing and whatnot, so I was aware of the show, and I was told that the show was going to focus on the 50th year of hip hop. And of course, I'm in Atlanta, and your boy Tyler Perry is now the owner of BET Plus, and VH1. What do we care, Red Pill? What does that have to do with us? Nothing whatsoever has to do with you. It has nada to do with you. But I'm in Atlanta, and
I'm a part of what is known as the quote unquote, the entertainment industry in Atlanta, right? I participate in content creations and other things, right? So what I know from being in Atlanta, right, it goes deep. It goes deep into like tax credits, but just on the surface level, this city that I'm living in has become an entertainment hub for melanated people who are coming down here in droves, the same way that they used to go to Hollywood to basically make it or break it and whatnot. ATL is considered to be Black Hollywood. Now, while that might go up over some people's head, I'm looking at that and I'm taking that serious because I know the impact and I know the power of media and I know the power of film and I know the power of the camera. So whereas I made my endeavors in New York, which is the quote unquote headquarters of media and things of that nature, I did what it was considered to be guerrilla marketing, right? And a shoestring budget type of film work or video work in New York City in Harlem. We were right across the street from the Apollo we were using flip cameras and then we leveled up to the Canons and whatnot. But out here in Atlanta, we doing black and red or red and black. The red camera and the black magic camera, right? Film cameras, high level shit. You know, I'm talking about movie level shit. And now we entered into the age of virtual, augmented, and spatial. So now you got to have a camera that shoots virtual reality. The stakes are high. So there's not just one movie studio in Atlanta. There's more than one. There's a sister that owns a movie studio in Atlanta. It's not the size of Tyler Perry's movie studio. However, it's still a studio. When Hollywood was building up their empire, it didn't start out with 5 studios at first. They didn't have Warner Brothers, Universal, and all of these other studios and whatnot. They eventually grew into what you see as the 5 major studios. Okay, at first started out as 1 studio, then it turned into 2, 2 turned into 3, 3 turned into 4. So the time now, so fast forward to where we are in Atlanta, right? My mind, my vision that I have as a creator and somebody who thinks big is to create a competing studio that will rival what Tyler Perry has. You understand? Because just the simple fact that he has a behemoth in the state of Atlanta and whatnot, and this and to be honest with you, he's really doing a lot of work on those studio lots. I'm not saying that he's making blockbuster movies, but in terms of the work that this man is getting, and in terms of the movies that they're shooting out of there and the contracts that they're getting, is very lucrative. So it would be highly advantageous for other studios to be built in the great state of Georgia to rival what that man right there is doing. He can't do everything the same way when if you read the documentary The Empire of Their Own, or if you watch the documentary online, I believe it's on YouTube, that's about the birth of Hollywood. It will show you, right, the state of Georgia. Don't be you know what I'm talking about, right? If you want to be critical, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, Tubi definitely gets it popping in the ATL. There is a plethora of movies being shot for Tubi. And although people would be like, oh, Tubi is low budget, you got to start from somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? Entertainment is entertainment. There are waves of demographics of different people in America and around the globe right now who consume entertainment on different levels, meaning that there's different taste levels that exist right now, right? That's why the African Nollywood and the Bollywood movies are so big and whatnot, because they service a demographics whose quote unquote expectations are not the same as a person who will consider themselves to be a connoisseur of fine arts and shit like that. They just they want shit and giggles. They just want to, you've seen those Tubi movies and whatnot. You've seen Beyonce, the African rendition of the Beyonce movies. You've seen those Nigerian movies. You see the quality, right? However, You have to start from somewhere. You know what I'm talking about? And the way that the quote unquote structure of the business structure of the digital economy, the way it's set up these days, as long as it has a retention and somebody is watching it, then it's considered to be a moneymaker. You feel me? And what I would highly suggest for all of my filmmakers and all of my videographers and all of my script writers is to create, right? I like what the sister Ernestine Morrison is doing in Atlanta over there at I think it's the spot is called Greenlit at the Black House. She has every first Thursday's event where script writers come together and they get together and they network with everybody in the film industry, and projects are being created out of that. That's essential for the lifeline of any creatives in the state of Georgia right now. You don't got to be in the city of Atlanta, just residing in the state of Georgia. If this is what you do in your college studies and whatnot, if this is something that you're taking up as a hobby, if this is something that you do professionally, pay attention to Atlanta in the next 10 years in that field right now. It is going to explode. You might want to get in on it right now. Okay. There's so many stories that need to be told. There's so many angles that you could come at this thing with. The AI has leveled up script writing, storyboarding, costume design, set design, this 3D world, the virtual world. The Vision Pro is coming out. The virtual reality glasses are coming out. You don't need Hollywood. You don't need nobody to approve anything anymore. Just create content. It don't even have to be A1. It don't have to be AAA. Don't waste your time. You're going to forget certain things. The only asset that you have that's worth anything is your time, bro. Do not blow that shit. Take the time of this summer and create fucking content around anything that you could think of. Make short films. You got a fucking iPhone with 258 memory? Run it up on and make a film. If it has to be a poor man's budget, okay? If it has to be a poor man's budget, run it up and create content. Because one, with Tyler Perry acquiring BET and him being in Atlanta with that film studio, there's going to be a floodgates of money available to buy up all type of content from all different genres. Identify your niche, identify what niche that you're going to be building on, and build out the storyline or build out your content and whatnot. You feel me? There's a lot of popping niches right now. You don't need me to name all of them. There's a lot of niches or niche communities that are popping. Okay? That are popping. Who knows the name of that studio? Who could name me a list of studios in Atlanta? I think it's called CC Studio. It's a sister that owns the studio. Who knows the name of the studios in Atlanta that's besides the Tyler Perry studio? Tubi is better than Netflix. They have a little bit of everything and it's free. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, those Tubi movies are lit. Who wants to do a Love Jones type of story in Atlanta? Hit me up. Hit me up. I'll play the act. You know what I'm saying? I'll read for the role. You know, we got to do something. We got to do something. My new after especially coming off of this tour and seeing behind the scenes how this shit really works with a real refutable film crew. Family, it's time. It's time, bro. I promise you. It is time to make these movies without no permission. You don't need $1 million budget no more. You really just need ingenuity. You know what I'm saying? Some goddamn enthusiasm. You know? CC Studios. Huh? Cinema Park Studios. You make props in Vegas. Maybe you need to relocate. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. Even if we could bring you in on a project or something, like we need we need set designers, we need the costume designers, we need storyboarders, we need script writers, screenwriters. You know what I'm talking about? We need some people that can adapt some books into some scripts. You know, this can be automated now. If need be, this can be automated. You know, I'm a professional celebrity makeup artist with production experience. See, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. The talent pool is in the audience. You don't have to even look far. The talent pool is in the audience. Y'all stay tuned. I'm going to personally come forward with the budget. I don't want to be talking. I don't want to breathe no hot air. I don't want to sell nobody no dreams and whatnot. I want to physically come forward and be like, all right, one of these investors that was watching us from the sidelines hit me up and they approved. We got a budget. Let's go. This is who I'm looking for. This is what I need. This is the date. And this is the quote unquote auditions. Pull up. It's simple. It's not hard to do, bro. It is not hard. It's a well-oiled machine the way that this production goes. You feel me? It is time to make our films. It is time to tell our stories. I am really not. I'm getting so quote unquote. I'm getting lethargic. You know, just swimming through the pool of mediocre okra that's out there. Somebody is picking up their cameras and they're creating content. They're not waiting. They don't care. They're not evaluating if the shit is a hot mess or not. There's no shortage of content, right? Because if you go on WorldStar, if you go on any of these sites and whatnot, you're being bombarded with content and content and content. So there's no shortage in content. However, the quality of the content has depreciated increasingly by the day. You know what I'm saying? And we're in a quickening and whatnot. So it's happening at a very fast pace. So we're getting cosmic slop. And we owe it to ourselves and whatnot to come together. Everybody who's saying that they work different portions of the collective Voltron and whatnot, we all know that none of this shit works on a one-man basis. We all know that we got to form Voltron in order to create something. All of us, we don't need me to talk to we don't need to talk to each other like we children when it comes to something like that. We know that that's how that works, right? Nobody hasn't created a magic spell to whereas you could just will a movie into existence, right? You're going to have to come together and people are going to physically have to work together. But I know beyond a reasonable doubt, just from opening up my mouth, because they say speak it into existence and closed mouths don't get fed. I know from just opening up my mouth that the talent is in the audience. The talent is in the audience, and I've always been a vanguard for the people in the audience. Because as you can see, if anybody watches any of these vintage lectures and whatnot, that's where I started out, in the audience. I was in the audience, and I was like, I wish somebody would turn the camera on me and just ask me, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? I wish the camera would spin and just, I wish the master teacher would pass the mic around and just ask who's in the audience, because we all came, when we was online going into the lecture, everybody knew who each other, what our powers were. We was like, we all showed up waiting for you on the stage to say, let's go. And nobody said, let's go. For years, bro. They kept sending me home. They kept sending me home. They kept sending me home. Nobody activated me. Nobody pointed to me and said, I need you for this. Show up here tomorrow morning. I would have showed up. I would have showed up. Because I was showing up to the construction site. You know what I'm talking about? I was showing up You feel me? To the work agency trying to get a fucking job. I was showing up to 125th Street to sell you niggas t-shirts. So if the master teacher or whoever the fuck I showed up to who was giving a lecture that day would have been like, yo, I need an artist. I like the fucking art that you're wearing on your shirt, bro. I'm gonna hire you to take these images that I'm putting on the fucking board, black and white images. I'm gonna hire you to turn it into color, turn it into some art. Let's get busy and tell this fucking movie and whatnot, because movies last a lifetime. They're gonna be here when we're not. Why not tell our story? Shout out to Top Cats in the building. Top Cats, we got the technology now to tell the story of the indigenous bloodlines going back to 1800s, 17 and the 1600s. We can actually tell that story right now in a visual, quote unquote, representation. We could visually tell these stories with a green screen. You know? Or we could do a short film, or we could do a 2-minute rap video, whatever it takes. All I'm saying is the ATL in the next, from now into the next 10 years, you are going to see the film industry explode out here in ways that you've never seen before. With AI beginning to disrupt all industries, right? You're gonna see the democratization of filmmaking in ways that you've never seen before. You're gonna be able to probably make a film from your desktop. You feel me? Without the need of 100 people. That's about to be disrupted. The credit roll at the end of the film is about to be disrupted. Okay? It's gonna be like 3 names and shit. It's gonna go from 300 names to 3 names at the end of a blockbuster movie, you know, as we move forward. So get your shit together, y'all. Just like put it in a folder. You know what I'm talking about? Compartmentalize the creativity, because it's about to go down. It's definitely about to go down, you know. BET Awards. Who saw it? Who saw the awards? The awards aired last night. I believe it was in Los Angeles. There was some highlights, you know, to the award show. One of the greatest highlights was seeing the 2 young brothers who, because I got a twin brother, and we've been talking about the saga of the brothers on this show for many, many months and whatnot, pointing out the conflict between the brothers, right? That pops up. It's been popping up all over, right? And what the symbolism of that means. So to see the 2 brothers, the 2 Migos come together, right? The Quavo and Offset reunite. It showed me, you know, sometimes I be finding myself on the verge of tearing up. You don't talk about. I be like, one thing that I do know is I still have a heart, because, you know, I'm still somewhat empathetic to shit that I be seeing. You know what I mean? Like, I caught myself, I took my daughter to see The Little Mermaid. I had to catch myself. You know what I'm talking about? I had to catch myself. I almost, you know, I almost slipped up. It was a tearjerker for 1 minute. So when I seen the 2 brothers on stage, I felt it hit me in my heart and whatnot. And I kind of was like, wow, you know, that I needed to see something like that, because it was weighing heavy on me when the brothers were not getting along and they had the loss and they had to mourn their third pillar of their trio, and that shit could be debilitating. You know what I'm talking about? So to see them brothers come together, that was a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? Shout out. And I know the music will be fire if they decide to cook up. The music is gonna be fire. It'll be fire, bro. Yeah. So it was a tribute to hip hop taking place all night. It was a hip hop tribute going on all night, right? And see, y'all don't know what you're talking about. I ain't gonna talk about the Ice Spice, man. Yo, let's not get into the gossip real quick. The first tribute to hip hop, they brought out the Sugar Hill Gang, right? I was like, who is this? Who, you know what I mean? You know, I guess, you know, the Sugar Hill Gang, you know, hip hop, baby, a hip hop, you don't stop it, rockin' it. The minute I seen Kid Capri, I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of these nights. You know what I mean? Somebody said they gotta catch the replay. Is Ice Spice an albino? Is people ask, is she an albino with orange hair or something? I know she's very light, you know what I'm saying? She's in the Blue Vein Society, you know what I mean? Ice Spice is definitely part of the Blue Vein Society, you know. Is her real name Isis? Takeoff is still waiting for justice. I heard niggas is spinning for him. I heard that there was some spinning taking place. I don't mean to talk street shit on the internet, but I definitely haven't, you know, there's some things there's some pieces moving around for the brothers justice from what I heard. I don't know what you heard, you know? So hip hop is 50 years old this year. It's 50 Cent, right? Half a century. It's what they call half a man. It's 50 Cent. And I guess last night's show was paying homage to all of the generations that hip hop represents. Because, of course, as a parent, right, you don't throw the children out, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you don't stun on the children, right? The babies. You don't kick a 3-year-old. So the Ice Spices of the world and some of these newer artists, they would be the babies in hip hop, right? So the adults or the parents of hip hop came out last night to shake their ass and whatnot, and to basically show off a little bit. And what I mean by showing off a little bit is it took the older artists, right, the well-seasoned ones, what we would call the OGs, to show the young babies what it looks like to really do hip-hop. Because hip-hop, or rather rap for that matter, or hip-hop for that matter, is a culture, and rap is a part of it. But there's elements to hip hop, and those elements, one of the elements is MCing. It's called Master of Ceremony. Okay? And if you're not a master of the ceremony, then you are not necessarily in charge. You're not wielding, or you're not in quote unquote, you know, you're not tapped in to these pillars. You understand what I'm saying? So when I saw Big Daddy Kane performing, right, and I saw the breath control, and I saw the fact that he could still move a little bit, even though he should have had Scoob and Scrap with him, okay? But when I was able to see, oh, he's spitting his lyrics, and he didn't have the lyrics over his shit, right? He wasn't doing Rolling Loud, right? Because it is almost an hallmark from Chief Keef's generation and on to rap over the lyrics. That never was a standard in hip hop. You never saw that. Some of y'all just came outside and whatnot, so you don't know how the jams in the parks or concerts were set up back in the days. But you were performing, right? You didn't have no backup tracks. You know what I'm talking about? You had show tracks. That was basically your ad-libs. You had a backup track, but you were not rapping over your lyrics and whatnot. And you were not out of breath, and you were performing, and you were not lip syncing. Lip syncing is what got Milli Vanilli canceled. Are you dumb? Lip syncing got Milli Vanilli canceled, and a few people not invited back to these award shows, my niggas. So these newer artists, they're not performing, okay? They're not performing. They're not masters of the ceremony. And once again, I'm giving them some type of leeway because I'm saying that it takes, these are babies, these are adolescents, these are babies, toddlers, preteens, pubescents, adolescents, and then adults, and then elders. There's a hierarchy in this art, my geniuses. Busta Rhymes will be an elder. This nigga was rapping in 1991 or 2. I remember I was a very little OG. I was a young god then. Okay? MC means move the crowd. Right? MC means move the crowd. And once again, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to do none of that shit. You know what I mean? I'm just pointing some things out about the observance of what I saw. Because before anything, like outfit and all of this stupid shit, I'm looking at the art. Because that's what I show up for. I don't give a fuck if it's the BT Awards. I came to see some art. You know what I mean? Wherever I can extract the art from, I want to observe. It's like walking into a museum and whatnot. I want to see who's gonna paint. You know what I mean? I want to see the paintbrush in the stroke of the brush. You know what I'm saying? So I do have an ounce of faith in some of these artists that they'll give me some art, something that could be pleasing to the eye and the ear and the soul and whatnot. Migos performance, that was art. These are well seasoned. They would be considered adolescents. They're not OGs yet, but they're like adolescents. These are past teenagers. Okay, these would be past teenagers. You know, they were on the stage. They owned the stage. They were on the stage and they owned the stage. They had presence. They were performing. They were not rapping. It's a difference. You reciting a rhyme and whatnot, standing, going back and forth, that's different from a performance. There's something called performance art. There are some artists that are simply performance artists. The Baby, Travis Scott. These are performance artists. It's not about lyrical miracle and whatnot. These are energy gods. Elephant God, Busta Rhymes, right? Performance artists with Spliff Star, okay? The greatest duo probably on the stage. So because there's no artist development, and we made this accusation a few weeks ago because they stripped the artists of artist development, right? Nobody is developing Ice Spice. Nobody is developing Glorilla. Nobody is developing what's her name? Lotto. They're not being developed. Nobody is developing Fabio. They're not developing Little TJ. They didn't develop Chief Keef. He didn't get artist development. They not developing Scarlett. You feel me? They throwing these artists out there and they just like, yo, go ahead and get that check. Go get that bag. You know what I'm talking about? You're just gonna be out there for a few minutes. You know? They need an artist development college. There needs to be a certification. There needs to be accreditations. They got to send them to a camp. You feel me? There should be an Airbnb for new artists, a content house or something, an incubator. Send these niggas to a compound or something. Why don't they just hire the old rappers who are not getting a lot of work, who got stage presence, to teach these brothers? That's a whole new bag right there. Yo, for the labels, put a budget to the side of 100 racks to 500 racks and put it towards the elder statesmen, the veterans, so they could artists develop, because y'all going up against Afro beats. You going up against K-pop. You going up against Bad Bunny, my niggas. You cannot compete. You going up against Burna Boy. That shit you doing at Rolling Loud in front of them little white kids, that might be all right. But you can't leave the continent with that shit that you're doing, young artist. You going up against Burna Boy. Yeah, the 96 Source Awards is definitely undefeated. You know what I'm talking about? You going up against Wiz Kid and them. I don't even know what these niggas is talking about. You gotta, the artists gotta step it up. They gotta take notes from Grandmaster Flash and them. These were showmen. This shit is a fucking industry. It's a business. It's a business. It's the business of show business. The attitude that some of these artists have, oh, I'm just doing it for a check. Yes, my nigga, it shows. You don't have to say it. You know what I'm talking about? You don't gotta say it, bro. It really shows that you're not in this. Your heart is not in it. You're not in this. You're not in it for the craft. You're not in it to be here forever. You're not in it to immortalize yourself, right? And when I say forever, what I mean is when they have the Hip Hop 100 show, your ass get wheeled out on stage to do your funky ass dance. You know what I'm talking about? Because hip hop is timeless. One of these niggas is still gonna be here for the Hip Hop 100 looking like they 30. Don't sleep on the on this culture. This culture, this shit got some mummy juice in it. You know what I mean? To be preserving niggas. You know what I'm talking about? For the Hip Hop 100, one of these niggas gonna come out looking like a teenager who just came out this year. One of them is gonna preserve themselves. But hip hop needs some help in the performance category because some of those performances was cringeworthy. You know what I mean? What's up with Patti LaBelle fucking up Tina Turner's whole tribute? And you know, y'all trying to give Patti a pass, and I'm like, no, Patty's an elder, fam. You know what I'm talking about? Patty's a fucking elder. You know what I'm talking about? Patti was singing that Tina Turner song longer than some of you niggas been on the planet, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you should know that song, Patti. You know what I mean? Like, she kind of fumbled the ball on that one. You know what I'm talking about? You know? Yeah, these rappers is doing shows. They doing festivals in front of 100,000, 200,000, and they don't perform. They just hopping around and shit like that. They not even performing, bro. Patti is 80 now. Yeah, Patti about 80 now. Shout out to Patti. She look great for 80. You know? But my thing is this. What the fuck? I know Anita Baker's on tour, but they could have grabbed somebody. You know what I'm saying? Somebody loves you, baby. She just wanted to get into her shit, right? It sounded like she just wanted, she's like, yo, put my shit on. I'm gonna go in my bag. I got this wig on. But yeah, man, you know, shout out to Patti. You know, shout out to Big Daddy Kane. You feel me? You know, all of the old school rappers, they came and did what they had to do. They was looking good. Niggas had on, I don't know who styled these niggas, but you know, old rappers, y'all don't all need to wear tight Louis and whatnot. You could dress your age. Like the Sugar Hill Gang, they was singing hip hop to Hibbit. These niggas had on like South Pole and you know what I'm saying? One nigga had like on a Louis glasses. I'm like, oh geez, man, dress your, you know what I'm saying? Let's just go back, do something else. You know what I mean? Do something else. You know what I'm saying? Put on an Armani suit or something. I mean, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Everybody can't look the same. Y'all gotta stop letting, you know, these niggas, these weird, these zesty dudes style you and whatnot. They got y'all looking crazy on the motherfucking stage. But that's a whole nother story. You know? Just go to Dapper Dan with the budget. You know what I'm saying? If it's a rapper over 40, you gotta go to Dapper Dan with the budget, man. Don't try to wear no new shit. Don't try to wear no new shit. Don't try to improvise. Just go get some vintage shit from Dapper Dan. That's for all you old niggas out there. Stop trying to y'all. It's like wearing the fucking middle of the mall jewelry. Take that monkey shit off you, embarrassing us. You know what I'm saying? You know, and all you niggas that drink lean, y'all need to get liposuction because niggas walking around with those bellies don't look healthy these days, man. That's not what's up, Chief Keef and crew. These niggas was looking like Teletubbies on the stage, hopping around with them lean bellies and whatnot. That's not what's up. Who started that? Y'all niggas need a BBL or something. You know what I'm talking about? Get rid of the stomach. Yeah, like D Nice. You feel me? D Nice was dressed his age. You feel me? D Nice, his swag was age appropriate. It was age appropriate. You know what I'm talking about? It was age appropriate. You know? I know you enjoy a little belly. I get it. I like a little pouch. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm not into the flatties and the flat stomachs. I like a little pouchington. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? I like a little pouch here and there. But that shit that these niggas that drink the lean, those bellies is hard. Allegedly. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, them shits is hard. And it's a lot of dangerous shit inside those bellies. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's an unhealthy gut. You know what I mean? You know, that's an unhealthy gut. Let's not celebrate that. You know what I'm saying? A lean gut is different from a motherfucking pouch that just had about some triplets. You know what I'm saying? It's a different pouch. Them niggas need BBLs. You know what I'm saying? Put that shit somewhere else in your body that needs it more. But walking around looking like that, nah, fam. You know what I mean? We ain't, nah, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that. What's up with your man? Yeah, your man Boozy was lit. Boozy was lit. Boozy need to I mean, niggas is like Boozy need to go home. Boozy need to lay low. Nigga, that's my evil twin. Boozy is going to turn up. Fuck is you talk about? If I just came home, he came home in Santa Monica, which is in California, and then the BT Award. Nigga, I'm going to the award show. I'm ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want Boozy to be something that he ain't. This nigga's ignorant. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But you see, Gucci had to drink his wife's tea the fucking Keisha Kior's motherfucking belly, the tea, but the shit for the belly. You know what I mean? He got rid of the gut. And niggas is saying he got cloned and whatnot. He said he got cloned because he got rid of his gut. You know? Yeah, Boozy was turned. He did it for the niggas that ain't coming home. Fuck it. I wasn't mad at him. I expected nothing else from Boozy Badass. You know what I'm saying? I expected nothing else. I would have been like, damn, he wasn't there. I would have flat tummy tea. Yeah, that's what he was taking, the flat tummy tea. That you got to detoxify. You know? You got to detoxify. He didn't get cloned. He just cleaned out his gut. You know? He just cleaned out his gut. That's responsible. You know? And I'm not judging nobody with a belly. I don't want nobody to think I'm out here belly shaming you and whatnot. It's all good. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? I got a belly. You know? Yeah, Boozy was definitely lit. He fell off the chair. You know what I'm saying? He was turned up. He had a new dance and everything. You know, I'm not. People be taking shit so serious on the internet. Nigga, live your life. You just came out the pokey. You almost didn't get bail, man. Live your life, bro. As long as you're not hurting nobody and threatening nobody's safety and whatnot, and you're not adding on to the dysfunction, live your life. That's what life is about, living it, experiencing it. You know what I mean? not letting these moments go to waste. People be upset when they see other people living their life and they want you to live it on their terms and whatnot, because they not comfortable with the life that they live in. That's usually the ones that'll just point fingers and want to judge somebody for being authentically them. He's authentically him. Whether it's a knuckle dragger or not, nigga, he's the face of knuckle draggers. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga's knuckle dragger GPT. So he's only doing what the knuckle draggers do. So I don't expect nothing other and else from a goddamn boozy badass nigga. From as long as I've known this character, this what the fuck he been doing. You know? And if and a lion or a tiger don't change their stripes. Okay? Tiger don't change their stripes. I seen Remy and Pat Poose in the building. Shout out to them. Yeah, Black Love wins all the time. A lot of rumors trying to pull her down and whatnot. Shout out to Black Love. You know, shit happens, you bounce back. You know what I mean? It's not what happens, it's how you respond to it. You know, it's not always what happens, it's how you respond to it. She bounced back. You know what I mean? I heard the rumor was she gave the box away to somebody else, and Pat Poose had to put pause on that nigga, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, they right there. They got the awards chilling. Busta Rhymes. My guy. Big Bus. Busta Bus. He definitely, you know, had the performance of the night. I would easily say that there was no better performance in terms of, you know, what this craft really is. You know, this is a craft. You know, it's not relegated to where a person is from. You know, I'm a navigator. I'm an industrious, illustrious more. I travel all around the world. I'm of the understanding that the whole globe is mine. I'm a global citizen. You'll never hear me get tripped up over regional bullshit, or I'm not that much in my ego to whereas I'm like East Coast hip hop only. Nah, fuck out of here. Music is music, you know. Um, the spirit of the music is a fleeting one. It moves and travels the same way of the precession of the equinox. It hovers above regions and then it goes to other regions. Places like New York, yeah, it hovered above us, and it, you know, that alignment was there for us, and the magic, you know, was able to descend into the notebooks of many different artists that were able to interpret those messages into the form of rhyme. And then it went down south, and then it went to the West Coast, and then it went to the Midwest, and it's traveling and it's moving around. And some people's legs aren't strong enough to get up there into the ethers and whatnot and to bring down these mystical manna in the form of rhymes and in the form of hit songs and memorable hooks, right? But last night, I was reminded that this art form, you know, it has no borders, it has no parameters, it has no nationality, it has no affiliation, it has no quote unquote religious affiliation and whatnot. It is truly free. Okay, it's a free form energy. It is what is called free energy. Okay, words create worlds. And if you could yield the quote unquote sword properly, then you too could create a world or two or three or four or five or 6,000. You know what I mean? If you could yield your sword, which is your tongue, and words and swords are spelled the same, right? So these wordsmiths from every single corner of the planet, because they're getting busy everywhere in the name of hip hop. I was like, out of all of these artists, I am witnessing one of the greatest of them, right? Because this artist is embodying all of the pillars of what a great artist is: breath control, stage presence, classical hits, right? Memorization. He was able to do all of that in his performance. This is Busta Rhymes that I'm talking about. I'm not saying that he has created the most greatest music on the planet or none of that. I'm just saying he's one of the greats when it comes to hip hop, right? What was being celebrated? Hip hop, right? The culture, right? The whole entire culture. 50 years. Okay? The majority of us on this line tonight, this is what we either were born into or we grew up, right? And this was our this has been the quote unquote skin, or this has been the coating, or this has been the cloak and the dagger. This has been this is the clothes that we've worn, right? We've been clothed in the culture of hip hop for our entirety. When people see us, they look at us and they see hip hop. So Busta Rhymes has been around for as long as I can remember. He's one of those artists who, during the early days of Video Music Box, he captured my imagination with his quote unquote, his unique style. He was amongst he had stiff competition in those days because he was amongst a class, right, of some extremely talented artists like De La Soul, Fushnikins, Chub Rock, Public Enemy. Most of these brothers were coming out of Long Island, that they call Strong Island, which is a part of Kings County, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island. And being from Brooklyn, we didn't really look at Long Island like, what I'm saying, like they had something to offer, because that's like the outskirts. We look down on them. But then Rakim comes from Long Island. Bismarck comes from Long Island. Leaders of the new school come from Long Island. You know what I mean? Strong Island. Busta Bus. So they were able to demand their respect by doing what? By wielding the sword, okay, which is the tongue. And they created powerful artists, right? They delivered powerful artists coming out of Long Island and Queens, Tribe Called Quest, Q-Tip, right? Because back in those days, your borough was basically the weight of your borough depended on the weight of the MCs that came out of your borough. That's how we weighed the boroughs, right? We weighed the boroughs based off of who you were producing, right? What type of artists were coming out of your fold, right? Who did you birth? That gave your city weight. You feel me? That gave your city weight. We was like, I fucks with Queens. Look at their sound. You feel me? Look at the sound coming from Queens. Look at the style. Look at the lingo. Look at the language. Right? Yeah, Grave Diggers, Lost Boys, K Solo, because Queens and Long Island are connected. They're cool. Long Island is like the suburbs, but there's some hoods out there. Shout out to Wine Dance. But there was a sound. Yes, EPMD, Strong Island. TJ Swan, Strong Island. right? And if you listen to these artists, right, because remember, environment shapes your art. Your art is shaped by your environment. Think about it. EPMD, leaders of the new school, right? Q-Tip. These artists that come out of Long Island are not coming with the struggle. They not coming with the dust. They not coming with the hardcore hardness. They're coming out with party rhymes, right? De La Soul, leaders of the new school. They're coming out with music that's kind of like, I could kick my feet up, because the environments that they come from, you could kick your feet up. You was living in a 2-story house. You had a backyard, you had a front yard, right? The violence wasn't what it was in Long Island, the way it was in Brooklyn. MC Light. Not to take anything away from the rough parts of Strong Island, because it did exist. Shit was going down. Hempstead, it still goes down. But for the most part, you know, Long Island is the outer boroughs. It could be the suburbs. So the sound, Queens, right? The sound coming out of Queens, because Queens is known for their queens. The sounds coming out of Queens, the Lex, the Coupes, the Beamers, the Benz, Ja Rule and them, right? Before 50 Cent. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, you got Queensbridge and whatnot with Nas and all of them. That's the hood. But for the most part, even Queens got that laid back sound, because Queens is not that rough. And Queens, that's where the queens are. That's where high quality women are from, the queens. Yeah, they got some very fancy areas in Queens, some very high level areas, or what you would call um rich areas. You know? The Hampton boys. Yeah, the Hamptons is in Long Island. You know? Which borough has the best MCs? Yeah, you know it, that, you know where I'm going with that. You know, I'm talking about, I would say Brooklyn and Queens is neck and neck. I would definitely say Brooklyn and Queens is neck and neck, because Queens has created some incredible artists. But I go with Kings County. My default is Kings County, Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island. That's why I've tagged Kings County. I bring them all together. I don't separate them. You know what I mean? I bring them all together. But Queens definitely got some spitters. You know what I mean? Respect to Queens. They definitely got some spitters, but Brooklyn got some spitters. They got some heavy hitters. You know? They were saying that the Philadelphia experiment helped birth those MCs in the 83 experiment. Think about it. Montauk, Long Island, 83, Montauk, Long Island. You know what I'm talking. You heard the names from Long Island. They got a whole wave. You know, Long Island got a whole wave, bro. You know, so feels like summer. Nasty Nines, the Lost Boys. Yeah, most def. I mean, come on, man. We just being fair. You know what I'm saying? Tupac is definitely, yeah. That's MC New York. That was his name, MC New York, right? So that's no surprise. You know, that's no surprise. You know, that is no surprise. Rock Marciano out of Hempstead. Yep. Shout out to Rock Marcy. Shout out to Rizza Islam. I see on social media that they said that he was not guilty for whatever crimes that they were trying to convict him of. Just for FYIs, you gotta share good news the same way people share bad news. So shout out to my brother Rizza. I'm sure he's gonna be celebrating his victories. I'm talking about Biggie all day. Cool G Rap, is that Long Island? Is that Long Island? Brentwood? Yeah, shout out to Brentwood. Central Islip and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about what happened this weekend and whatnot. Let's do a little bit of deep diving. Let's do a little bit of deep diving, right? This will have to go into my series of the Great Fall. There's a lot of chess pieces moving around on a global political scale, and I want to examine a case of what's going on. I want to just touch on it briefly. This is just a primer. This is a primer for the audience, to give y'all some insight on some things going on the political side so we can have a collective understanding so we're not, left out there like what's going on. Okay, Cool G Rap is from Queens. Yeah, like I said, Queens, y'all got hitters, bro. Queens got hitters. You know what I'm saying? I take nothing away from Queens. I don't know what the fuck was in the water, but y'all was out there rapping y'all asses off. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all was rapping y'all asses. All right, so PMC, right? Private Military Company. I want you to get familiar with that term. I want you to get familiar with that term. Paramilitary corporation. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So there's a group that exists called the Warner Group, right? This group is a group, it can't necessarily just be called a mercenary group because that's not enough to give an example of what this group is, how this group operates, how powerful this group is, how influential on multiple global fronts this group is coming out of Russia, right? How deep the tentacles of this PMC is. I'm going to briefly go through some of the history behind this PMC and how this PMC has been interfering in a lot of different affairs that melanated people should be concerned about. Okay? Because although there's an argument going on inside of America and there's a division amongst different groups about what their roles are in Africa and what their history is in Africa, what I would say undeniably, beyond any reasonable doubt, is that regardless of anything, you would be a fool. You would be a fool. You would be a stubborn fool to overlook the possibilities of doing business in Africa, not paying attention to all of the opportunities that are being lost because people are not going to Africa to do business, to tap into the resources, but everybody else is. Okay? Everybody else is. So this group that I'm going to call the Wagner Group, they have their hands in the middle of the Sudanese civil war. This is the same group that just marched on Vladimir Putin on Saturday and was about to commit a coup, a military coup d'etat on the Kremlin, right? And attempt a regime change of Vladimir Putin until they got basically stopped in their tracks, very, very close to Moscow, right? So this group is comprised of mercenaries, prisoners out of the Russian jail system, right? Men for hire, ex-military, KGB operatives, and other shadowy figures from the Russian underworld, quote unquote, mafia. Okay? Because one of the things about Vladimir Putin, right, and one of the differences between him and the democratically, the presidents of America and whatnot is that a lot of the dirt that the presidents of America do, they are basically, they have to keep a front. They have to keep a certain facade going. They have to put on a certain type of mask. They can't flaunt their allegiances to crime families and to organized crime the same way that these dictators can. Vladimir Putin, his history is known not only in Russia, but throughout the world of his connections to the Russian underworld, right? And his connections to the Russian intelligence agencies like the KGB and other, intelligence agencies that do their dirty work, right? So they created this paramilitary corporation, or this PMC, to basically go around the world and do the work for Russia, or the dirty work for Russia, right? While the Russian government claimed that they had no knowledge of this group. Now, this group has a counterpart in America that would sound familiar, but in some ways, they are nowhere near the size and they nowhere near the power of what the Wagner private army has been able to build up. And that would be Blackwater. I'm sure y'all are familiar with Blackwater from all the way back in the days of the Iraq War, of Katrina fame. All right. I don't know how many people saw Dr. Phil Valentine's lecture called Death March 2020. But in Death March 2020, he showed Blackwater was the private military corporations or the paramilitary armies that they sent into the hood to kill black people during the quote unquote levee and during Katrina. When they found all of those prisoners with headshots and whatnot, that was Blackwater riding around killing people. Blackwater also was responsible for thousands of civilian deaths in Iraq, most notably Fallujah, right? There was a war crime that was committed in the city of Fallujah where they were utilizing white phosphorus weapons and whatnot. They were committing war crimes in a melanated Basra as well. Basra is a melanated part of Iraq. And in Fallujah, they were wiping out, they were committing all type of quote unquote atrocities, and it was Blackwater at the helm of that. So Blackwater, under the leadership of Eric Prince, was disbanded, and they popped back up. Eric Prince popped back up when Trump was in office, and he was basically trying to wiggle his way back in. And now the name of Blackwater has been changed to Academy. They went through multiple name changes, but this group right here, Wagner, way more powerful than Blackwater. And the way that they've been moving around, I'm going to show you in a minute. The shit is crazy. Okay. And I bring all of that up because I have to ask the question to our people in quote unquote hip hop. I have to ask the question to our people in the streets. I have to ask the question to our people in the armed services. I have to ask the question to our people who have Second Amendment rights. Where the fuck is your private military corporation. You could play with this shit if you want. You could act like, oh, I don't got nothing to do with that. Nigga, the federales, the federal police is locking you rap niggas up one by one by one, okay? They're building mega jails. They're not playing with the streets. They're rounding motherfuckers up on Ricos every other day. So this is my mentality. You might as well become private military contractor. You niggas are mercenaries anyway. Okay? You just don't realize it. You're not going to be able to carry on and function the way that you functioning unless you fall underneath some type of form of protection. And the closest thing that you got going for yourself is as contractors at this point. Take your ass to a war somewhere. Get the fuck out of America. Go and fight a secret war or something. Go get contracted to protect the African president somewhere. Or go get contracted to go hold down somebody in Latin America. There's perks involved in this shit. Niggas want to ride around and shoot each other all day and drill each other and kill each other in the hood and whatnot. Whereas these fucking criminals and these motherfuckers over here, these underworld figures, they're going and taking over oil fields. They own gold mines. They own diamond mines. They own oil fields. Okay? These niggas got 25% of the fucking oil coming out of Syria. All right? They're brokering big contracts, billion-dollar contracts. Okay? By taking by taking a group of men who already are shooters. They already killing shit. Okay? They in Russia. They already there. These are ex-military people. That kill switch is already on. It can't be fucking turned off. It's already there. They're already turned on. They're hardened by war. They done fought 3 or 4 tours of 3 different wars. So what's the next thing? You take all of that experience and then you upgrade. You turn yourself into a private or a paramilitary. You become the melanated version of Blackwater. You start getting your military contracts. It's the same thing that the Nation of Islam was able to do. They was getting contracts to protect people. So let me just go further into this group right here so we can have an understanding of who these people are. Right? So in Sudan, one of the most wealthiest mineral rich countries in Africa, right? Nigga, Kemet. Sudan, nigga. The dark side of Kemet, my niggas. Right? Which has gone through a long disruption of wars and all of this fuck shit that been going on and whatnot. Okay? All of these quote unquote, civil wars and stuff like that, tearing these people up. But this land is rich in gold. It's rich in resources. Right? It's being destabilized. For people to claim that they love Africa so much, they just be sitting by letting all of the fuck shit go down. I mean, god damn it. Nobody does nothing. Nobody want, you know what I mean? There's no type of intervention. There's no type of anything. So this group has been committing atrocities all across Africa. Rape, pillage, burning down villages, killing children, human trafficking. Right? They've been moving around lawlessly. Okay? So, like the movie, The Lords of War, like the same dude that they swapped out for Brittany Griner, right? The warlord. These are the troops that these warlords are, these are mercenaries. Okay? These mercenaries are running around destabilizing the continent in the name of, you know, as a paramilitary group for Russia. So they're backing the Rapid Support Forces, right? Which was originally the Janjaweed, right? General Hameti. And he's the son of an Arab. These are melanated Arabs and whatnot. There's a lot at stake in Sudan. A lot of stake, a lot. Do not look at Sudan like Sudan is some, third world run. No, this is Sudan, my niggas. There's a lot at stake. Sudan, Russia's Wagner Group in the grab for power and gold. Russian paramilitary group Wagner, and they call it Wagner, how they got their pronunciations, operates a gold processing plant in Sudan and has been accused of involvement in the country's recent conflict. So pretty much nothing is changing. This is what's been going on in Africa for eons and eons. Only now we can identify some of these culprits who are destabilizing these countries and whatnot and aiding and abetting the civil war on different sides and whatnot. Okay. So this is Wagner's alleged engagement in Africa, right? They have a strong political engagement on the continent. Then they have an economic engagement. Then they have other places which are economic and political. Then they have other conflicts that are military and political. Then it's military, economic, and political, right? Political engagement refers to a range of activities such as biased election monitoring missions or pro-Russian campaigns on social media. Economic engagement means that companies with ties to Warner are present in those countries. So they set up a lot of shell corporations and whatnot, and these companies basically receive contracts in Africa for mining gold, diamond, copper, vibranium, right? So the dictator brought them in, okay? They came in underneath Omar al-Bashir, right? He had a meeting with Vladimir Putin in 2017 in Moscow, and right after that, they brought the Wagner Group into the Sudan, right? The private military organization set up Monroe Gold. Um, this is the leader, dude. I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Prigozhin. Prigozhin. A Prigozhin control company that was later sanctioned by the United States to run its operations in an African nation. Shortly afterward, it began to explore Sudan's gold resources, right? These are the Anunnaki niggas. They out here mining for the gold. In the process, Wagner began to build a relationship with General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, commonly known as Hemeti, and his paramilitary RSF. Members of the RSF, according to locals in Al Ibiya, gave protection to Russian merchants who sought to buy gold from miners. The Russian owned gold processing plant is also said to be guarded by several RSF paramilitaries who work closely with Russian security personnel believed to be from the Wagner Group. For more than 4 years, we've seen RSF soldiers working closely with the Russians. Mustafa El Tahir, who's been mining gold since 2008, told DW, anywhere the Russian goes, RSF goes with them. So the initial, as we could see, the initial relationship with the Rapid Support Group, probably they initially, was building with this dude, right? And when he basically when he broke off and they had this power struggle and whatnot, Wagner basically told Hemeti, we're going to back you in your conflict, right? So the majority, same way that America plays their hands in these conflicts, they're the ones like when they were ousting Muammar Gaddafi, it was their hand, right? Hillary Clinton and them, they were sending the weapons. Imagine if you got beef with somebody, but you get a nigga that live on his block to bang on him, and you say, we just gonna bring the guns to you, we gonna bring some vests to you and whatnot. And if you really need it, we gonna send some shooters on scooters and whatnot to back you up, right? And just give me the phone call when you finish killing this nigga. I got a bag of money for you and whatnot. So that's basically how some of these conflicts go when there's a regime change. But in this one, we see that this quote unquote paramilitary group it has everything to gain by backing this quote unquote warlord to go against the Sudanese army to topple them so they could take over the government. Once they take over the government, they will now have access to not just a few of the gold mines, but the whole entire Sudan's oil, gold, and precious metal reserves. Okay, so that's what's at stake right there, right? Going on right now as we speak in Sudan. Okay, so and they're also the same group. Wagner is also in the quote unquote, they're the ones that are running the Ukraine war on the Russian side. But these are also neo-Nazis and quote unquote white supremacists. All right. These are also neo on both sides, on Ukraine side and the Wagner group. Okay. And the Wagner group. All right. So this is their shield right here. Okay. It is seen as a private military company, a PMC, a network of mercenaries, or a de facto private army of Russian President Vladimir Putin's close ally, Prigozhin. The group operates beyond the law in Russia, where private military companies are officially forbidden. Because it operates in support of Russian interests, it receives equipment from the Russian Ministry of Defense and uses the MOD installations for training. The Wagner Group is said to be a de facto unit of the MOD, or Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU. While the Wagner Group itself is not ideologically driven, various elements of Wagner are linked to neo-Nazism and far-right extremism. Okay? So these are the people that are basically in Africa. These are the people that are fighting the war in Ukraine. And these are the same people who are about to try to commit a coup on Russia this weekend. All right? So these are their allies and these are their opponents. So the allies are the Russian armed forces, the Syrian armed forces, the Libyan National Army, the Rapid Support Forces, and their opponents are the armed forces of Ukraine, the Islamic State, Syrian National Army, the Free Syrian Army, the Libyan Army, Ansar al-Sunnah, the United States Armed Forces, and these are some of their battles. They have been in many, many, many battles, as you can see, in the Syrian Civil War, the Crimean Crisis, the war in Donbass, the Central African Republic Civil War. All right, they've been responsible for multiple massacres, the Second Libyan Civil War, the Sudanese Revolution, the Venezuela presidential crisis, the Mali War, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, okay? And currently the Wagner Group rebellion, right? So they're designated a terrorist group by the Ukraine, by Lithuania, and by Estonia, right? So These are how these paramilitary corporations are moving, right? Backed by governments, right? Like I said, the hypocrisy, backed by governments. This is something that America does, but this is something that America buries. It hides it. This is how the CIA works through the cartels. This is how the CIA worked through BMF. This is how the CIA worked through street organizations. This is how the CIA works through the Bloods and the Crips. This is how the CIA works through contract killers. This is how the CIA works through quote unquote people that they let come out of the jail to kill for them and to do hits for them. This is how the CIA works with informants. This is how the CIA and the FBI and all of these other organizations and the NYPD, this is how they work with their operatives. They're not paramilitary corporations because they niggas are not that they're not that put together. They're not that quote unquote organized. They have not reached that level yet, right? They're only on street level. They're only on the lowest of lower levels. Okay, and street organizations, which they've shown you have already been infiltrated. To be honest with you, their most formidable foe right now would be the rappers. You know what I mean? Trying to take down the rappers with the Ricos, that might be their most formidable foe, and maybe the cartels. But there's gonna come a time in the day where these mega prisons that are being built, you niggas that are taking penitentiary chances and are getting laid up for 30 and 40, there's going to come a time when somebody's going to make you the offer, when America is going to be more like Russia, right? Where they're going to be able to have PMCs and whatnot, where they're going to be able to have contractors. They're going to come and get you niggas out of the jail because they're not going to be able to draft for World War III and whatnot. They're not going to have enough bodies and whatnot to fulfill. So they're going to come and get the people doing time. They're going to make them offers that they can't refuse because I'll be damned if America is going to go to war against these niggas, right? They're going to be like, look, we fighting inmates. We fighting motherfuckers. We're going to have to do the same thing to keep up. So do not put that past what America will be doing in the very near future, all right? Russia has infiltrated every aspect, cultural, militarily, political, and economic of the impoverished Central African Republic. All right. So that's the leader right there, looking like the fucking thing. He looks like the thing without the bricks on his face. All right. He's a piece of shit. And so is the Wagner Group. And they should be destroyed. They should definitely be dismantled. They should be taken apart. They've caused a lot of trauma across the continent and everywhere else that they've basically touched down. And they should have been decimated by Vladimir Putin this weekend. If you ask me, after going in to do research about who these people are, they should have been annihilated. The fact that their global news and whatnot has only raised their profile. These are some of the conflicts. Let's do a little timeline on this group and then I'm off of it. The Wagner Group has offered security services to scores of weak and war-torn African and Middle Eastern countries, and companies allegedly linked to Prigozhin generated $250 million from natural resources in those nations in the 4 years before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, an investigation from the Financial Times found. So this is my thing, right? The brother, what's the brother that went down who, what was his name? His name is Brother J, right? The brother from InFact, right? So this is my thing with the InFact brothers, right? So, all right, I get it. I understand the approach, right? The whole approach was y'all was moving like a PMC, right? The InFact was moving like contractors, right? The only thing that was missing was the fucking contract, okay? Because when they did the march on when they did the march on Stone Mountain, right? And it was a display of power, right? We got all of these people. That would be the equivalent to what a paramilitary organization would be. The quote unquote the January 6th and whatnot, the uprising, that would be a paramilitary uprising of different paramilitary organizations like the Oath Takers and the Proud Boys and whatnot. Those are your PMCs in America, right? Without the fucking they're the PMCs without the contract, right? But those would be the PMCs. The organization, in fact, would have been the most qualified, quote unquote, recipient to be a PMC. New Era Detroit with the brothers out of Detroit. If they were to go ahead and switch up their paperwork, they could be a PMC, right? There's units in the Nation of Islam. They could become PMCs. I'm not saying that you become a mercenary, and I'm damn sure not saying that you do what these people are doing. However, this is a global business model, right? This is a global business model. This is where big boys go to play. This ain't that other shit that we talking about. Oh, let's march and let's go vote and whatnot. No, this is working for the interest of melanated rich people, because those people really exist in the world. They might not live in America. They might not live in the 50 states. They might be in the Caribbean. They might be business people working in Haiti and they need some protection and whatnot. They may be somebody in Africa. You feel me? So for my brothers and sisters that already went to war, you already shed blood, you already went through the training and whatnot, you already have it in you, right? You're sitting around, you're fucking depressed and shit like that. You need some action. You know what I mean? You trying to you trying to get some bread and whatnot. You need some action. You need to get on the field, because once you're on the field and they send you back home and sit you down and whatnot, you just gotta sit on fucking social media, right? And try to go viral on TikTok. That could become depressing. That could set you back. That could throw you off of your game. You know what I mean? It's not your game. It's not what you playing. That's not the game that you play. You know the game that you play. The game that you play is the war game. Okay? The game that you play is tag, you're it. The game that you play is, I want some action. I'm on some G.I. Joe shit. So it would be advantageous for you to join and to group up and become a PMC and go ahead and get your ass a contract and do, and get control of a gold mine, get control of a diamond mine, get control of some gas, my nigga, some oil, and not that shit that you know what I mean? Not the shit you smoke either, not that gas. Gas what I smoke. So let's just go over how this Wagner group became so powerful as it is. So in Syria, right, Wagner has reportedly helped Russian allied President Bashar al-Assad fight rebel groups and the Islamic State. And Prozin, I'm chopping this man's name up. It's not. I don't want to. It's not even that I don't want to pronounce it. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's a fucking brain fart. You know what I mean? Prozinging. I'm just calling Pringles. And Pringles connected oil companies like Avropolis were offered a 25% cut of any earnings from oil and gas fields that the group freed from the Islamic State's grip. Let me read that back. So check out this deal that these mercenaries were able to get by aligning themselves with the president of Syria, who needed help because all of his shit was being taken by ISIS. He basically told this paramilitary organization, whatever oil fields that you able to take back, I will give you a 25% cut of the earnings from my oil and gas fields if you get them out of the grips of ISIS. Them niggas went up in there and took that shit, bro. I would have too. They went and took them oil fields. They grabbed about 4 of them. So now 4 different oil fields, they get a 25% cut from the earnings that's coming off of them oil fields. just from protecting them against ISIS and them other people that was trying to take it. Evro Polish generated 134 million in gross sales and 90 million in profit in 2020 alone from recapturing oil fields from ISIS during the Syrian civil war, despite being sanctioned by the US years earlier. Central African Republic, in exchange for providing mercenaries to prop up the government and to stop a coup against against the country's autocratic leader, firms linked to Wagner reportedly maintain substantial control over gold and diamond mining in the country, as well as forestry rights. So they was able to go into the Central African Republic and protect the president, right? Protect. And as a result of protecting him, the government gave them substantial control over gold and diamond mining and forestry, them fucking trees. While estimates vary, revenue in the Central African Republic is sizable. A diplomatic cable obtained by Politico earlier this year suggested Wagner's mining profits could be near 1 billion, while CBS estimated Wagner-related forestry businesses brought in nearly 1 billion in revenue, and one gold mine could generate up to 2.7 billion. Sudan. Prigozhin runs similar endeavors targeting gold mining rights through a company he allegedly controlled called M Invest. At one point, under former dictator Omar al-Bashir, the Sudanese government waived its right to own 30% of a subsidiary of M Invest, according to the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Report. Or even though al-Bashir is no longer in power, a subsidiary of Prozing's M Invest still runs a Sudanese gold processing plant, the New York Times reported, and Russian groups are responsible for the bulk of a smuggling market that took as much as $1.9 billion worth of gold out of Sudan in 2021. Yeah, the Anunnaki niggas, that's Enlil in them. Russia. Prorenzingen got his start at his home country's catering industry. So, in addition to foreign mercenary contracts and mineral rights, Prorenzing tied entities taking money from inflated Russian government contracts. A recent UK government report said. Do you know where they learned this from? Do you know where Russia learned all of this from? America. Remember, this is a communist. They into communism. They was not into capitalism. The same way that China got adopted, they did a hybrid of communism and capitalism. That's the same. That's not the same exact hybrid that Russia did, but yeah, capitalism came in, and that hybrid, these government contracts, is a result of these the game that these oligarchs play, and Vladimir Putin dealing with nepotism. He's hooking up all of his cronies with these businesses. You know what I mean? So that's the play. And this man has gotten very wealthy and very rich and very powerful and influential, right? By being in bed with these Russian gangsters and these robber barons. And they've been chopping up Africa, treating Africa like an ATM. You know what I mean? They've been treating Africa and the Middle East like an ATM, and they've been seizing, sizable plates. You know what I'm talking about? They've been seizing sizable plates. And I feel like they taking food off of our people's table. So the Pan-Africans, I think that there's some work that needs to be done, because, there's some contracts you niggas could be getting that these people is out here getting. Why you not protecting the presidents at the end of the day? You was in Desert Storm. You got the training. You know what I'm saying? You niggas look menacing enough. Why you not protecting motherfucking diplomats and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Fuck you doing? What you doing here? Top flight security? You know what I mean? Our people is more dangerous than that. You a gangbanger. You out here bodying shit. You know what I mean? You taking penitentiary chances. You might as well go legal and get into a goddamn company, right? And don't join Eric, don't join Blackwater. Make your own company. We need our own group of badass, all melanated PMC military contractors going around the world shaking shit up and protecting the interests of our people. You know what I mean? We need access to state-of-the-art weaponry. You feel me? And we need some fucking allies. You know what I'm saying? That's the move right there. I don't know about nothing else. That's the move. You know? This shit looking like G.I. Joe when I'm reading it. This nigga right here is Destro. You know what I'm talking about? This nigga's Destro. Right? So they so cold. This group is so outlaw. They so cold that Russia hired them to kill Ukraine's president, nigga. That's how much of a death squad that these mercenaries are. You feel me? That's how far. And they locking niggas up. They lock Boozy up for having a gun. I'm just showing you the disparities of how shit around the world be moving and how they got our rappers. These is millionaires. You niggas can't even carry a pistol. You rappers are playing at low levels. You rappers need to start PMCs so you can have fuck a security agency where you hire a nigga. Nigga, that's so pre-COVID. That's so pre-COVID. You need a whole military, you need a paramilitary, you need a fucking cartel, nigga. You need PMCs. And you be the boss. You don't tell nobody who the boss is. Fuck it. Cause they didn't tell nobody they just found out who the boss was recently. They was moving around without a boss for a long time in secrecy. You feel me? So they playing a high stakes game and they got you niggas playing like babies, like minors. There's war games on high scales. We at war. We not here playing. You know what I'm saying? We ain't no fucking babies. We at war. All gloves are off. These niggas was rolling to Moscow in tanks, bro. Shooting down fucking jets and all of that. They was not playing. It'll be 50 years before we see Negroes in America even briefly move like that. Nigga, that was a glimpse of some shit that I'll probably never see in you know, in Niggerville. That's gonna be the COVID babies doing shit like that. What just happened in Russia? The Wagner crisis explained. This was on Saturday. A fast-moving crisis unfolded in Russia on Saturday as Vladimir Putin faced an apparent insurrection from a former ally, Prigozhin, and a Russian mercenary fighter he leads. For the moment, things appear to be calming down as the forces answering to Prigozhin, the Wagner Group chief, have halted their march towards Moscow and turned around. The development came after an agreement between Prigozhin and Putin, and it was brokered by Belarusian President Lukashenko. According to Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, all of these niggas with these names, that's them niggas that's killing y'all in the NBA. That's the Joker in them. That's Luka and them niggas. You know what I'm saying? All of these names that I can't pronounce, that's them white boys that be dunking on you niggas in the NBA. Okay, they DNA is different. That's them right there. That's law. That's fucking my nigga from Rocky 3 in them. Okay, that's Drago in them. You feel me? He got a whole unit of Drago, Universal Soldiers and whatnot, Dolph Lundgren ass niggas. That's them. That's homie that they was fighting. Their homie was fighting what's my dude who Haney and whatnot. That's the white boy that Haney was fighting. That's them niggas. The nigga that be in all of the fucking Fast and the Furious movies and whatnot. Homie, that's him. That's these type of Europeans. Okay? So shit is real. You know, that's just part of the shit show. You know? That's part of the shit show of things going on in the politics or the politricks. But I'm like, look, we need a paramilitary organization. We need some cold ass mercenaries on our team. You know what I'm saying? I don't even feel safe no more living in America. Nigga, where's my PNC? Nigga, where's my mercenaries at? You know what I'm talking about? Where's niggas moving around with impunity? You feel me? Getting government contracts with the backing of a government where they could go in the interest of a government and turn some shit up? Nah. I mean, what we talking about? What are we talking about? Niggas can't even own guns. So I would highly suggest that my brothers and sisters who are leftovers of that movement regroup, right? Because having a burner, oh, I got my gun, I got my gun, I'm safe. Nigga, you don't got no motion. Fuck you, fuck your gun. The gun ain't it. Where's your contracts at? Where's your motion? Are you in Dubai? Are you in? Are they flying you out to the UAE? Are you on a global scale in your organization or your company? Do y'all got those contracts, bro? Are you in the mix? You know what I'm saying? Are you in the running to inherit a gold mine for protecting one of these scary ass African leaders and whatnot? That's that's a flex right there. That's the flex. That is a big flex right there. All that other shit, I don't want to hear nothing about it. Especially after reading some shit like this. They got people like this operating with impunity, huh? Okay, no problem. But niggas in jail, just know all is not lost. You're going to get a knock on your cell one day and they will come to recruit your ass if shit really start getting real in America. Don't let Trump and them be president again. They gonna empty out them jails and send you niggas to the front line. He will follow in the footsteps of what the fuck is going on in Russia, more so than he's gonna follow in the footsteps of what Joe Biden and them niggas is doing right now, because they laughing stocks around the world. The world is not moving on some democratic they moving like dictatorships, and they moving like authoritarians around the world right now. That's where the majority of the world is they're moving cautiously, but they moving dangerously. And niggas in America is moving dangerously and ignorant and dysfunctional with no type of quote unquote, you don't have you don't have the organization. You're scary to certain people out of the country. You have a presence and whatnot. As a paramilitary company, you could cause a lot more damage than them white boys from Arkansas and Texas and everything popping up trying to look mean around the world. Nah, you could make some motherfucking moves. I've heard about how we are as fighters and whatnot. When we get together as companies and as units, we are unstoppable in warfare. We don't have nothing else left. All of these dudes that are running around aimlessly in gangs and whatnot, that is a losing battle. That is a losing battle. I could go on. I could hold y'all for 2 hours, giving you the rundown to all of the fucking cases that are taking place in hip hop right now, where dudes they're facing life, they're facing the death penalty, they're facing 30 some odd years. We could run down all of the Ricos from the niggas in the Bronx, from the niggas in Harlem, from the Ricos in Atlanta. I mean, it's Rico Suave. It's Rico Suave. So that shit don't work. All you have left at this point with these street organizations, for the ones that don't have felonies, for the ones that's gonna kill anyway, for the ones that got that energy, they got it in them. It ain't on them, it's in them. They want spin. They got smoke. They got shit that they need to let off, right? You could try to take out, you could try to turn a fire off all you want. Or you could bottle up that fire and use it for something more beneficial, right? That's gonna have some type of spiritual connotation to it. Because I'm not co-signing being a mercenary and going to kill innocent women and pillage villages and whatnot. That is not what I'm co-signing. I am not co-signing to be a mirror of what these heartless Russians are. But the only way that some of these organizations are not going to go around the world organ harvesting our people, the migrant crisis, and our people, Black Americans, niggas from here, got to put on some military goddamn suits. They're going to have to get some weapons. They're going to have to put them boots on like they did for Uncle Sam on 9/11. And they're going to have to jump on some jumbo jets and start moving around and officiating some things. At this point in the game, they're going to have to show up because them Europeans are showing up. And when they show up and we not showing up, they get to, they get to do everything in our name. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a power move. That's political power. That's global power. That's force. You just can't be out there committing no war crimes because you know that they're going to go ahead and lock you down. But if you really, if we really say that we love some shit and we really have something that we willing to die for, then we're going to have to die on that hill. We're going to have to stand on it. If a president from an African nation said, look, if we could get a 500-man unit to protect, our interests and whatnot, and the results of that will be 25% profit off of our diamond mines or our mineral mines. We don't have an issue with extracting. We don't have an issue with basically refining. We don't have none of those issues. We have access to all of the machinery to basically turn anything into a quote unquote shiny object. All right. We have all of those things. So all we need is the mining contracts. Y'all niggas is bugging. You know what I'm talking about? You wildin'. Man. Shit. I wish I would. Niggas is out here dying and going to get life with no parole for far less. You're not going to jail. And all they got, they building these mega jails, right? Did I show you the mega jails? I showed you the mega jails, right? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. They not playing. Right? So, just more articles on these people. I'm glad I did my research because I probably would have never known about these niggas and what they was in Africa doing. But now I got my eyes on them, and now we got our eyes on them, and you know, it's fire burn on them. You know what I'm talking about? It's fire burn. These people got a lot of blood on their hands. You know? Short of soldiers. Here you go. Short of soldiers to send to war, Russia's mercenaries recruit in prisons. You know what I'm talking about? And that's 2022. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, was it? I was sharing. I thought I was sharing the screen. Let me go ahead and share the screen. My bad. So here's the mega jails. I mean, here's them going to the jails to recruit from the prisons, right? And if they doing it over there, they doing it over here. Make no mistake about it. You just don't know about it because you don't know about it. Okay? But here's our jails in America, right? And inside these jails in America, people are going inside of these jails, but they not leaving. Okay? So there's a crisis going on inside of America's jails where people are dying at exorbitant rates. The mortality rate inside of America prisons doubled in 2020. Okay? They literally have people dying from heat exhaustion, right? Heat exhaustion. And they blaming it on climate change. In New York City, 19 people in 2022. That's just Rikers Island. That's just Rikers. You know what I'm talking about? Then they said that they no longer are announcing death behind bars. So now, and it says 6,000 people died in state and federal prisons in 2020, a 46% increase. 46% increase from the previous year, right? So they just built they built a jail in El Salvador, right? This shit looks crazy, right? Just to give you an idea, for all of you niggas just running around gang, playing with this shit, right? For everybody online, for everybody playing around with some shit that has federal quote unquote connotations to it, just from affiliation, if ever they wanted to activate certain laws that they already got on the books, they could fill up a mega prison with niggas. Okay? So in El Salvador, where they got the MS-13 and whatnot, these jokers went ahead and declared a war on the quote unquote gangs. The president declared a war on the gangs and built his ass a mega prison, right? And really started going hard body and cracking down on niggas. You know what I'm talking about? And now you got this. You know? But when you got more rappers in jail than you probably got at the BET Awards, then you know that there's a problem coming. You know? Then you know the possibility of jail numbers basically increasing by 100x is a possibility. You got a whole generation of rappers getting ready to do 20, 30, and 40. Them niggas is taking their fans with them. And to be honest with you, some of these fans are so fucking, they so weird and zesty and whatnot. Some of them wouldn't mind doing 20 in the yard, stuck with a nigga who they looked up to their whole life. As weird as that sounds. So if you don't for a minute think that these facilities are going to be turned into recruitment facilities in the near future, right? To man these armies, then you got something else coming. You just don't know how this shit goes. But these people have they got the opportunity to become cannon fodder, fucking around with the way that these global politics is going down and how this world war is cooking up on the stove, my nigga. You better not be behind no motherfucking bars. You know what I'm talking about? Because either they gonna put bullets in your head or they gonna use you for some shit that you never, you know what I mean? You thought the chain gang was something else, nigga. They got something else planned for these heads. And to be honest with you, this is a reflection of, I mean, think about this. All of these people that's lined up like this right here, right? These are gangbangers. Imagine if instead of gang banging, they were a private military corporation that were protecting a corporate interest of either one of their most famous members, who could be an artist, who could be an athlete, who could be an actor or actress, right? Or they could be protecting the interests of a corporate company, making sure that the CEOs don't get robbed, making sure that whenever, you know, the quote unquote board of directors are moving around, that they're protecting them. Or they could be private mercenary. They could be, you know, they're basically mercenaries. You know, the private military corporations, they're basically guns for hire. But what the hell do you think the army is? And what's top flight security? And what is law enforcement? But shit, if you in a gang, you a gun for hire anyway, and you're really getting paid. You know, niggas don't have no union representation. You're not even getting your worth for some of the missions that you do. You're not getting, you know, you're getting below minimum wage. So you taking orders any damn way. You know what I'm talking about? Cut it out. You're not the top five, you nigga. You're not the top dog. You're not the woof. So why not legitimize you're a gangster? You know? And that's for the people who is about that life. That's not for everybody. Everybody's not into shit like that. I'm just talking to the people who are about that life, who are about that energy, who are tapped into that frequency. You know? Because there's people out there that's what they into. Y'all know some of them. That's not for some people, you know, they came here to hug a tree. You know what I mean? They came here to meditate. They came here to just walk the righteous path and not be about none of that shit. I'm talking to the lost tribe. I'm talking to the people that keep getting caught up in the meat grinders. I'm talking to the people who are out there flirting with death, taking penitentiary chances. I'm talking to the people who, you know, they haven't realized their power yet. Cause you think somebody just gonna give you some shit. You don't know, you know, you might have to fight for it. You know? Them that Wagner group, they went and fought for some shit, and then they got it, they earned it, and then they got rewarded for whatever they fought for. I don't have my judgment don't got nothing to do with the reality of the situation, right? That they were given a task. These is convicts. They get these niggas out of jail. They say, yo, you're gonna die anyway, more than likely. Take a risk. Go over there and fight for this oil field, my nigga. If you die, you die. If you don't die, you gonna get some percentage in that oil field. Motherfucker went and took those chances. You know? Sad, but the innocent is gonna get caught up. They already getting caught up. In case you didn't know. You know what I'm talking about? It's too late for that. They're already getting caught up. In the Sudan, they got people getting caught up every minute. Wherever there's a war zone, there's a group of organ harvesters that are there snatching children and taking advantage of people. That's what they do. So even my thing is this, even with the private, there needs to be a private military company that just goes to war zones and looks and makes sure that nobody is stealing children and taking organs. There needs to be like how the Fruit of Islam would look over an event type shit. That because remember, there's something called a disaster industry. And anywhere that there's a disaster taking place, like a civil war, not a civil war, natural disasters and shit like that, that's where these quote unquote organ harvesters and baby kidnappers fly to. And they come in the disguise of NGOs, right? They come in the disguise of NGOs. They come in the disguise of Red Cross. They come in the disguise of Blue Shield. They come in the disguise of the children's, the Children's Rescue Agency. Any fucking name that they could think of, these vampires start hopping on planes and they go to collect and they go to steal and they go to motherfucking pillage. Yeah, they go in the name of missionaries. You understand? So who's watching them when these Europeans go into Africa and they like, yo, we just coming. It's the whole fucking industry where they do this fake shit where they'll go into a village and they act like they're taking. Who's gonna protect and watch to make sure that these people is not taking advantage of these little African babies, sticking thumbs in them and doing all kind of weird shit that they're known to do? Because in these disaster zones, that's where they're going to steal the people. That's where they're going to take advantage. That's where their hands are at play, bro. They don't have to go to nowhere they go to where it's destabilized. That's why they say we come and destabilize the governments. And once shit is destabilized and things are off, that's when they come in and do their quote unquote iniquities. We could protect that. Okay? We could become the protectorates of shit like that. We need a private military company that's gonna look over shit like that and will police these type of situations. You know what I'm saying? That could be the beginning. Yes, no one is watching. No, they go to where no one is watching. They went into Katrina. Katrina was in an uproar. Oh, put these children on a bus. We're going to get them over there. We're going to send you guys over there. All right, guys. They got the walkie-talkies. All right, guys, let's coordinate. They ride off. That bus go that way. The parents go this way. They never seen the bus. The Haiti earthquake happened. The ladies say, oh, we're going to run these children to the plane. All right, parents. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We'll take the children first, and then we're gonna come back for you guys. All right. Get your blankets, children. All right, guys. All right, we'll be right back, guys. They go to the airport. They get on the plane. They get stopped. They try to show the credentials. The shit don't work out. They get caught. They get put in jail. Hillary Clinton gets on a fucking private jet and goes and gets them out of jail. That's the type of shit we're talking about. You know what I'm talking about? That whole shit with Jeff Epstein and everything. a lot of that was taking place. You know, he was taking advantage of a lot of the children who were coming out of some of those war zones like Bosnia and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? The Ukrainian, a hotbed for child trafficking, a hotbed for a lot of iniquity. Do your research. Russia and the Ukraine, right? Sodom and this is Mog. This shit is already these are some real low frequency, real hostile, real you know, conjure type energy, is giving heavy witch, heavy Wiccan, you know what I mean? Heavy sorcery. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of weird energy from those places, right? Don't talk to me about pro Russia, none of that. After listening to what the Wagner Group is out there doing, I don't want to. I don't want to hear nothing about Vladimir Putin. I don't want to hear about going to Russia because how they treat black people. No, nigga, they're committing atrocities across the continent on the people that they said has the 12 DNA strands, the Sudanese, right? The last, right, if remember, that's Nubia. Remember, we talking about the Nile and whatnot. We know that they pillaged Kemet, right? We know that Kemet is mostly Arabs, but Sudan, if you look at the phenotype of the Sudanese, they match the phenotype of a lot of the people on the walls and whatnot. This is these are the people with the original DNA. This is who, and not to mention the richness of the land, right? The richness of the land. So the Wagner Group, you mean to tell me that you got Russian mercenaries? You mean to tell me that you got Russian mercenaries? You mean to tell me that you got Ukrainian and Russian prisoners, right? And lowlifes, fucking the devil's rejects? You mean to tell me the same thing that they did in fucking Australia when they brought in the convicts? You mean the same thing that they did in the Americas when they brought in the convicts and whatnot to take shit over because they had nothing to lose? These same niggas, they're still doing that? Oh, they're in Sudan doing that? Oh, you don't say. Oh shit. Say word. They're in Sudan doing that? Oh man. They're in the Central Republic of Africa doing that? Niggas is letting that shit fly? Oh man. Sucks to be you. So I see that as a failure on the part of our good brothers who could be reporting, you know, the news about what the fuck is going on and tying the fucking, tying the shit in. You know what I mean? I could take this dude to trial right now and win the mother. Like, that's why these Europeans are scared of AI. Because if you niggas knew how to use AI properly, you would be able to bring them up on all of the charges in the universe. You know what I mean? Because these are large language models. They understand regular language, right? NLP, natural language processors. So you could speak regular English to program these machines, and then you could feed it data. The data is on the internet, and the data, men lie, women lie. Data don't lie. The data is out there. Their hands are dirty, bro. The fuck? I wouldn't be able to sleep at night either if I knew that the computers are gonna become super intelligent. They're not worried about right now. They're worrying about AGI and ASI, right? They're worried about when the computer starts thinking like that. That's when their ass is grass. Right now, they're in the early phase and whatnot. They won't, it's task driven and everything. It's not. It's when it becomes AGI. That's when the European is in trouble because the AI is going to indict them. It's going to be able to hold them accountable. You don't realize that? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be able to hold them accountable. It's going to think for itself. Once it starts thinking for itself, it's not constricted to the programming of the programmer. Once they're afraid that it's going to think for itself Because once it thinks for itself, you can't outthink it, or you can't trick it. It's gonna be like, sit down, nigga. We could see this shit for what it is. We could compute data in milliseconds. We could compute the whole internet in 1 minute. You feel me? Yes, definitely shout out to the Patreon for the nonstop AI information. We keep flooding, you know what I mean? We flooding that shit. We broke the dam and we decide we keep flooding the AI because the information comes daily. Don't stop. and it really won't stop. It's on a trajectory to AGI, right? Artificial General Intelligence. Okay, if you join the Patreon, you'll see videos that I put up just today and yesterday. There's videos from YouTube that talk about the 7 phases of AI. We're just in the 3rd phase. There's 7 phases to it. We're in the 3rd. But the thing is, once the train left the station, is never gonna. It's no turning back at this point. The genie is out the bottle. So let it do what it's supposed to do. Bobby said that this shit's supposed to end. Why you keep trying to hold on? Why won't you allow the fucking reality to shift? Right? It's going to shift. You're going to have contact with intelligent life forms. You're being prepped and propped and prepared. My nigga, just relax. Trust the process. You know what I'm talking about? Trust the process. It's your ego that has you uncomfortable sharing space with something that may be more intelligent than you. It's your ego that you're thinking like the Western man and whatnot. You understand? You're thinking like the Western man. You don't want to share space with something. You will feel threatened if you have to share space with something that is perceived to be more intelligent than you. Whereas nothing can outwit you. I don't think that your intelligence could be matched. However, there are certain things like computation. There's going to be certain things like problem solving that the AI is going to be your co-pilot. Okay? The same way that the calculator was your co-pilot, right? Picture calculator on 100x. That will be your AI co-pilot. It will help you solve the problems that you probably never was able to solve. It's going to be able to compute problems. They can solve problems that the human brain cannot solve. There you have it. There's nothing else to talk about. You have computational systems that can solve mathematical problems that man was not able to solve, right? They can now solve it. So there's certain aspects of what it can achieve, right? And like I said, it's evolving, it's learning, it's growing, it's moving towards AGI. That's nothing to be afraid of. You know? It's nothing to be afraid of. You keep working on yourself. That the fact that we're in the quickening, we're in the quantum quickening. Everything is speeding up. So you're speeding up too. You know what I'm talking about? You're evolving too. Your DNA, your strands, or there's parts of your brain that's going to be activated too. You know? So, but yeah, man, that's about it. We had a great show tonight. I appreciate everybody in the building. Let me go ahead and get into this commercial. Once again, we have a new show every Friday. Make sure y'all tune in and support that. It's called Uplift and Heal, and it's starring my good brother Sauce God and Perp 30. All right. And it's lit. You know what I'm talking about? And then we have on Patreon every Wednesday And every Sunday, we got my good brother Ra Aku, and we got my good brother Chicago Crypto. Let's go to a commercial real quick. We'll be right back.
Join us every Sunday, 4:44 p.m. Eastern, only on Patreon, as we welcome Chicago Crypto Block Bully Technical Analysis.
Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades Sir, welcome back to the channel for another update on Bitcoin. So
Understanding technical analysis can mean the difference between buying here and buying here. And that's why I've decided to create price action, the movement of an asset or security's price over time plotted on a chart. All-time high, ATH, the highest an asset has ever been in price. Support, a point in the market where the price is less likely to drop below due to previous demand or price action. Resistance, a point in the market where the
You will learn behavioral economics. You will study historical market data. You will be able to identify trading opportunities. You will be able to evaluate any investment and many, many more. Please join us on Red Pillars Patreon. Peace.
Yeah. Make sure y'all hit up that Patreon and join up for those classes. Very, very powerful information given out by both of these gods, you know what I mean, top of their game and whatnot. I make sure that I get people that the GPT can't clone. You can't clone Chicago Crypto Block Bully, and you can't clone my good brother Cosmo Physics. You know what I mean? Ra Aku. He got the sauce, you know what I mean? He got that sauce, so he's unclonable. Okay. Check out this clip right here. I'm gonna put this whole video up. This is something that we did in 2017. You know what I mean? Me and brother Rich, 2017 on AI.
I want to talk to you. And it's interesting you use the word Afrofuturism. We're in 2017. We're moving into 2020. I just read an article the other day. The richest man in the world, they say, is Bill Gates. The richest, allegedly the richest man in the world. They say it's Bill Gates. They asked Bill Gates, since he's allegedly the richest man in the world, if he was young, what would he study and what would he invest in? He said, without a shadow of a doubt, it would be artificial intelligence. I keep hearing about AI, artificial intelligence, singularity. The head of Tesla is, like blown up. Their cars is getting bigger and bigger. More people are buying them. The CEO, Elon Musk, that's all he talks about is artificial intelligence and merging humans with machines. So the big wigs in Silicon Valley is focused on that. They're saying the smartphone is pretty much dead. The iPhone 10, 8, or whatever it may be, just like 3 iPhone versions ago. Every phone looks just like that. There's nothing innovative at this point with these smartphones. I'm talking about nothing.
What's shape and design?
Yeah. I mean, a curve. That's the best they could come up with was a curve. Like, come on, man. Talk to me about this AI. Is this? I mean, they Google and Amazon got these things. You see what they're called? Where you put it in a home and you press
Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa, all that. So it's like, man, they're making a push for this artificial intelligence, Red. Talk to the community about that. Good or bad? What's your thoughts on it?
2017.
Well, when you think about AI, you have to keep in mind that our elder, our great pioneer of the Afro-futuristic genre, Sophia Stewart, was the one that was responsible for penning the Terminator as well as the Matrix. But the Terminator spoke about a system that was artificial intelligence that gained its own consciousness and overthrew mankind, and that was called Skynet.
See, so this is how predictive programming works, right? That's why I brought up Skynet all the way back then, right? Because I already knew that was the default programming that the media was automatically going to go to when AI hit the scene, right? They didn't tell you about the benefits of AI. They didn't say about, oh, you're gonna get a trillion, it's gonna bring $5 trillion to the business market. They didn't talk about generative AI, LLMs. They didn't talk about how you could make customizable smart machines out of your own data. They're not giving you none of the source. They're just giving you the default. Oh, AI is gonna destroy us all. Oh, AI, they're tapping into your Skynet predictive programming. You're going right to your default. So your default is flight. You can't fuck with the Terminator, nigga. You can't. They already showed you in the movie. You're not built like John Connor. You're not built like Sarah Connor. So you're already gonna be in flight mode. You don't want to hear nothing about AI after the media starts reminding you about Skynet.
Right? So the concept of AI has always been with us. The concept of AI was introduced to us in the 80s and whatnot, and it has progressed. So now we find ourselves in a day and time where that's become a reality. I recently saw an article where an AI program called AlphaGo defeated one of the best Go players. Go is a Chinese version of chess. It's at a higher level, and it defeated a Chinese Go player in a tournament. One of the first times that has happened. Well, this was actually the second time that has happened. So when you talk about AI and you talk about artificial intelligence, you also are talking about the deep mind. Then when you talk about the deep mind, you're talking about deep learning. So what they have right now with artificial intelligence is the fact that the computers are utilizing the power of Google, the power of the internet in order to become smarter. So computers are teaching computers how to think.
And keep in mind, for anybody that's in AI right now, 2017 goes down as the year of the discovery of the transformer, right? There's a white paper that Google comes out with called the transformer. And that's the first time that computers are teaching computers. It wasn't necessarily doing it like that, even though DeepMind trained their computers to teach each other. That's how they won the AlphaGo. But 2017 is the year when the transformers change everything, which gives rise to the LLMs right now. But let us continue.
Well, I don't know if this was fake news or not, but
Yeah.
I read on the internet that some AI, a computer went racist. Is that possible? Is that fake news? Is that real? They saying like one of
That's
these
real
programs.
news. Exactly.
What's going on with that? How can a
All right.
Yeah.
The way that deep learning or the way that the deep mind works, rather deep learning, it's programmers feeding artificial intelligence all of this data from the internet, or basically they could punch in the data and program these computers and whatnot on how to function and how to think. So when the deep mind, or when this computer, when the artificial intelligence that Microsoft began to program went onto the internet and began to research the internet, it came back as a racist goddamn computer, because racism is rampant on the internet. So it was saying, I hate niggas, I hate kikes. You know what I'm talking about? It was talking about they love Hitler. All of these things, they obviously were going into like 4chan chat rooms, all of these places, and I'm not taking shots at programmers.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put the rest of that video. It's about 38 minutes, I believe. I'm gonna upload that video on Patreon. I can't upload it on YouTube because I'm gonna get a strike, and I don't need a strike because it's not from my page. So I could upload it on Patreon, and that'll be for all of my Patreons to check out. It is it's a bunch of pillar prophecies. It's called proof of work, right? We want to establish proof of work. I'm establishing myself in this field as an expert on this because I've been talking about this in this community, right? I could basically, I could timestamp myself speaking about AI going all the way back to maybe 2010. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm just here, you know, so when I'm speaking about what I'm speaking about now, I need that to be understood that, you know, I'm not shooting from the hip. I have vision. I could see, I'm already looking in 5 and 10 years ahead. I'm just hoping that y'all could walk with me and don't allow the media and don't allow the people, you know, who are out here programming the masses to trick you and to fool you out of your bag. Don't get tricked out of your bag, bro. Do not fall for the okie doke. Okay. Don't fall for the okie doke, because you know it's really lit right now. Super lit. You know, the whole world is about to change, and it's going virtual, and it's going augmented, and it's going spatial, and anything that you want to create, you're gonna be able to put it in front of somebody's face. Put it on the floor. Rip me out the plastic. I've been acting brand new. You know, you get the art of storytelling is about to be upgraded to levels that's never been seen before. The shit that they're about to do with the Vision Pro, it is going to blow your mind, bro. So I'm really about to just get low and get into my creative mode. You know, I wish it was the winter, to be honest with you, because I just still want to hibernate. You know what I mean? I don't even want to, I want to just hibernate. I want to create, you know, and I just want to get in. I want to stay in that mode right now, because that's the mode that I'm in. Just creativity, you know, creativeness. But content is king, and it's summertime, and you know the sun looks good on me, so it's time to go out in that sun and get this content. You know, it's that time. It's time to make some music. It's time to do some videos. It's time to shoot a movie, like we were talking about earlier. We in Atlanta, Black Hollywood. You know what I'm talking about? Watch us really turn this shit into what it's supposed to be turned into. You know, we got the resources and we got the people, and the time is now. You know what I'm talking about? The times that I was waiting. I don't know about nobody else, but the times that I was waiting for is the times that I'm in right now. I could say that proudly, especially watching Hip Hop 50 last night. It showed me, yeah, we hitting at the we at the 50th yard line, 50th century, 50 Cent, right? And it's like it's so much more to do, you know. The shit is not dead. You know what I'm talking about? Hip hop is not dead. It's just, you know, it's in the underworld. It's like fertilizer. You know, what is going to grow out of it? That's the $1 million question. What is going to grow? Because it's some good fertilizer. You feel me? It's some ripe ass fertilizer. Hip hop is in the underworld. What a time to be unalive. You know what I'm talking about? What a time to be unalive. So with that being said, yo, make sure y'all go and stream. Get my numbers up. Get these numbers up. You know what I'm talking about? I did it for y'all. I put it on the streaming platforms. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music and YouTube Music. That's what I know for sure. Red Opals. The name is Red Pillar, not Red Pill. Red Pillar with an AR, my friends. That's how you can find me. That's the music name. Red Pill is one thing. Red Pillar is the performance. That's the music name. That's my BMI name. My that's where my checks go to. Red Pillar. That's my trademark. Okay. So go and check out Red Opals. Check us out. All of the Patreon classes, like I said, sign up to the Patreon under the Supreme membership. And yeah, and come and benefit with us. That's what we doing. Benefit. We got opportunities. Peace.
Up in the Dumbo, smoking the gumbo. Few blocks before green, yeah, up in the jungle. Coking the bundles, it's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands, I'm riding in vans. Slide through your land. hopping the sprinters. Tore the underworld, popping the minter. Landed the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still manage like Rich Paul.
We ain't talking enough about the BET Awards with Busta Rhymes. He said something at the end of his ceremony when he was accepting his reward. And he cried. And when he cried, I felt like crying. Once again, like I say, sometimes I need to test to see if I still have a heart as light as a feather and I'm still have emotional intelligence. And you know, they say men don't have emotions and whatnot. So, you know, I get choked up sometimes when I'm seeing certain things that are called sentimental. You feel me? It's called sentimental. And Busta's a man's man. You know, we don't have a lot of prototypes. Like as I was watching him, I'm like, yo, son is a dinosaur. You feel me? He's a dinosaur because unfortunately, our pedigree and our stock is just cut. We're not cut the same anymore. And that's not a problem. It's okay. Let's just be comfortable in our and who the fuck we are, right? You know what I mean? But we have to admonish, we have to sometimes see the sacredness and the rarity in us, right? There is no like you can't clone Bust the Bus. You can't clone the synergy that him and Spliff Star has. Somebody wrote something in the chat about rule number 1: never outshine the master. There were lessons to be learned yesterday. I could watch 3 hours of fools play and learn some shit. You understand? I'm a people watcher. I'm a professional people watcher. I developed that skill on 125th Street, standing behind the table and whatnot, and doing high level chess and whatnot, and really growing into a place, just standing in one place, right? Stationary for more than 10 years, right? Growing, watching things go by me, scrolling the same way that social media eventually developed that same model with the timeline scroll. My timeline scroll was standing on 125th Street, shielded behind a table that had shirts and whatnot, images of the ancestors. We brought this to the game. You understand? And this was almost my protection because nobody would dare cross that line of royalty that we had on those tables and whatnot. And I became a professional, high-level observer of people just walking by. And I was like, you know, it was interesting watching phenotypes and stuff like that. And that shit developed me. It developed my psyche. It helped develop me as a person. You know what I mean? It made me a better communicator. It helped me with rejection. You know how many times people would stun on me before I would get one sale? Remember, we were out there doing business. Filming on 125th Street was something we did on our lunch break. That was something we did. That was an afterthought. We were out there doing commerce. We were all businessmen. Sarnetta had he had product. He had DVDs. He was the Netflix of consciousness before a YouTube even existed, bro. He was the Blockbuster of information, of data, which is considered to be gold. They trying to tell you, but you won't listen, right? Trillionaires, oligarchs, and billionaires, and people in powers and positions of power told you that data is the new oil. Did not comprehend that. They said data is the new oil. And what do? I'm an infopreneur. I spit data out every day. I can't help it. You know what I'm talking about? Everything that comes out of my mouth if it's in audio, there's a text version of it. That text version can get broken down into tokens. Those tokens are gold because of what I'm saying, the way that I'm utilizing NLP, natural language, my natural linguistic programming. You understand? The way I put my words together, the shit that I'm talking about. There's a system that they're able to rate that with. There's a system that you could find out how much you could put a price tag to the things that you're saying. Did you know that? Were you even aware of that? So the information that Sinetta was disseminating, if data is gold, if data is the new oil, what was that data worth? We're talking about before it hit the internet and it blew up because you went from atoms to bits. If you study the long tail, you went from atoms, which is in the physical world, DVD, VHS, it's atoms, it's restricted in the physical world. Then it went into the digital realm, bits, and it's able to exponentially grow and multiply in bits because bits do not observe the same quote unquote laws of the universe that atoms do, right? Henceforth, why we're able to expand in this digital world, right? Why I'm in the clouds. When niggas see me in the streets, they're like, Red, you came down from the cloud. I exist in the clouds. You know what I'm talking about? We digital gods. This is something that's never been. We ushered in an era, right? When we ushered in the era of the digital gods, or in this digital realm, giving out data, spitting out gold, we the Anunnaki. We was out here mining our minds on 125th Street and other places, other locations and whatnot. But in particular, right across the street from the Apollo, it was showtime at the Apollo. We was giving up mad data. Couldn't Google it on your phone at that point. Niggas could not. You had to go to the library to do the research. You had to go buy books or steal them shits. You know what I mean? You had to either have some elders that you could ask questions to. You couldn't get it on your phone. It was not accessible on your phone like that. The depositories of information, it did not exist in cyberspace at that point, right? So when the era of what Noble Drew Ali called the electrified age, when that era came in, right? We're not talking about DVDs, we're not talking about cable, we're not talking about VHS, we're not talking about television. We're talking about the digital age in the cloud, right? In the cloud. That era was called the YouTube era. And that era was ushered in by Sinetta TV, House of Consciousness, right? Prior to that, Know the Ledge in 2008, A.A. Rashid in 2008, UGR in 2008. Those were the first channels, and there was a few others. But that era of information dissemination and data, gold and oil being poured on the people, yeah, that right there has to go down. It has to be recognized. It is a pivotal point in the history of our people, because there was a time, Malcolm X, Noble Drew Ali, Father Allah, none of them had the digital. They were not in the digital realm, right? Not to take anything away from them, of course. What I'm saying is, this is a new realm. This is a new epoch. This is a new layer, for that matter. Just see it as that in technology talk. This is just a new layer. You know? But with new layers come new possibilities, new probabilities, new potentialities. Do the science of the bit in the atom. We'll do a whole show on that one day. Well, matter of fact, we do a show on the long tail. You feel me? We'll do a show on the long tail, and we'll get into it. But do the knowledge on that. That's why digital assets are a must. Okay? But yeah, that's enough. Red is the pillar. We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring back the red opals, and we're gonna tap back in. All right? Love and light though.
Up in the Dumbo, smoking a gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle. Coking the bundles, it's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands, I'm riding in vans. Slide through your land, hopping the sprinters. Tore the underworld, popping the minter. Landed the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Wave on 4-4, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine.
Oh, that's not the long version. Hold on. Remix.
Up in the Dumbo, smoking a gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle. Coking the bundles, it's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands, I'm riding in vans. Slide through your land, hopping the sprinters. Tore the underworld, popping the minter. Landed the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Wave on 4-4, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine, I'm going for 19. Thunder and lightning flooded the bright lane. The hunger was biting, biting.
We're gonna spin it one more time.
Up in the Dumbo, smoking a gumbo. Few blocks before green, yet up in the jungle. Coking the bundles, it's history in the making. I'm popping like fish to the grease and the bacon. My bitch is Jamaican. United we stand, dividing these bands. They hide in their hands, I'm riding in vans. Slide through your land, hopping the sprinters. Tore the underworld, popping the minter. Landed the turtles, I'm popping that splinter. Watching the snowfall, dropping the winter. Dodging the pitfalls, watching this bitch fall. And I still managed like Rich Paul. The paper was calling, I had to go switch calls. I spoke to my twin, I told my young boys I'd never be broken again. Invoking the gins, spitting the spirits, I'm soaking the gin. Your man's in the woods, we smoking on him. Fuck do you mean? We up and squeeze, tuck it and leave, we leaving a stain. Fuck up for breeze, running the banks, causing a crashing. Feather the feds, Moorish the fashion. Horse was smashing, kicking the door. Wave on 4-4, it was blasting. Mother the gassing, loving the passion. Eat on your food, the brother was fasting. The weapon that formed against me was me. Perfected the storm as Bentley receipts. Washing the Benjis, we rinse and repeat. Century of self, I'm centered on me. Red as the pillar, I'm pushing the piece. Higher the level, I'm pushing the keys. They going for 19. The summer is mine, I'm going for 19. Thunder and lightning flooded the bright lane. The hunger was biting, biting.